Hello, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. This is Marketing Intelligence Live. Marketing Intelligence is a channel for marketing and communication professionals. We cover a lot of things within this channel with people who have worked in marketing and communication. So, today we have a very interesting topic at hand, which is consumer segmentation and communication design. So, to discuss this, I have with me Isha Sharma. Hi, Isha, how are you?
Hi, good evening. I'm good. I hope you're doing well too.
Yes, I'm also doing well. So, for the audience, I'll just give an introduction of Isha. Isha is a senior manager, loyalty, CRM, and alliances at the Leela Palaces Hotels and Resorts. Isha is an astute, high energy professional in developing and executing marketing and brand strategies with the ability to understand the ongoing market scenario and customer trends. Her passion for delivering fresh marketing solutions, enthusiasm as a people's person, and proven experience makes her a natural marketing manager. Thanks a lot, Isha, for joining us.
Thank you, Nikhil, for having me.
Awesome. So I think we'll just start our discussion. So the first topic is, what is the process of consumer segmentation for a business? So we'll start off, Isha, if you could elaborate on the same.
Sure. So, before even we get into the process of consumer segmentation, I think it's also important that we understand what we really mean by segmentation. So segment, and we're talking here about consumers who are existing consumers, people who have already made a purchase of whichever product or service we are referring to. So in terms of segmentation, it's basically creating combining different one kind of profile and creating a bucket of that particular profile type. So what we are able to do is we are able to identify our customer base and put them into different buckets and then strategize our marketing communication depending on what those buckets are. So these segments are they just help us to best fit our strategies or marketing communication, or how we reach out to them, and how do we ensure that our strategies are relevant for them. So to create consumer segmentation, first of all, it's important to have a lot of data of our consumers. So we can only create segment based out of the information that we hold. So for example, if I look at a hotel company, a hotel brand, if I want to create segment of my guests who've stayed with me in the past, it's important that I know history about the kind of spends that they've done at my hotels. I must know where they live. I must know the number of days that they, or the number of room nights that they spent at the hotel, or some understanding of their behavior, what are their preferences, and their city, their state. All of this information I must really have. Only when I have this kind of information that I can create different segments. Now there are certain segments which we can always refer to regardless of which industry we are looking at. The first one is depending on the demographics, like where is the consumer based out of, like where is the consumer staying. So demographics we take in sorry, geographical, where we understand where the consumer is located, what is the say state, city, or country, and we can also further have far more granular data on this, depending on whether we really have the actual address of the guest. Then the second one is demographics of a user. Third would be psychographics. Fourth would be behavior, like a behavior pattern, to understand how has the this particular guest, what were the preferences listed out by him, or what was the booking behavior shown by this guest. And last would be the recency, frequency, and monitoring. In our segmentation slang, we call it as RFM. Segment. Recency, basically to understand when was the last purchase a particular user had made. Frequency would be how long back the purchase was made. And monetary is the kind of spend that the guest has made. Yeah. So these are the typical segments that are created whenever we are looking at consumer segmentation. Does that
That's
answer
great.
your question, Nikhil?
That's right. Is there a way there there's a interlap like where you have monetary and demographics and all, and uh, where in terms of the segments overlap also, and you are creating a new segment. So how does that work out?
So there can be a lot of permutation and combination depending on how what is the segment I'm creating. For example, I want to reach out to a guest who's not stayed with me in the last 6 months. So that I'm looking at, the recency. Then I'm looking at the monetary that he's not stayed with me in the last 6 months, but he must have also spent this much amount of money. This he should have given me this much amount of business. So I'm also covering monetary. Then I also get to the geography where I understand, where I want to see, that he must also be located in Mumbai, or in the cities around Mumbai. Then I also look at, this has to be a male, because I want to send out an offer which is probably more attractive, to the male audience. And in terms of behavior, I can also see that, he's responded to all my past campaigns. So it's not necessary the segments have to be individually on these, parameters, but we
Hmm.
can set up permutation and combination and see what is it that I really want to push as my marketing communication, and then make use of, the options that I've got.
That's right.
Yeah.
For the students, if you could explain, like when you mentioned a kind of a segment created with different kind of data, when you're
Mm-hmm.
designing a messaging, what do you call that kind of bucket where this messaging is designed for a particular segment?
So in terms of messaging, like again, every messaging is dependent
Hmm.
on what is the segment that we are
Yeah.
creating, right?
Like in this, if I
So,
could be more specific, like say, in the hotel, in the last 6 months, who
hmm,
have spent more than say 1 lakh of rupees on
hmm,
my this thing, and they are located in Mumbai, and they have taken some banquet services or something like that. So we have these kind of
sure,
things, and a
sure.
specific messaging designed for them. Yeah.
Okay, so in this case, particular, what we just spoke, maybe we can look at promoting a room offer which is on a higher category of the room, because we are looking at someone who spent, who has that kind of propensity to spend, at our hotel, and because we are looking at Mumbai as a location, it is only viable to promote our Mumbai hotel. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
Awesome. So I'll move to my next topic.
Sure.
Uh, so it's very important. I mean, the key factors that we take in differentiation, because today you have a lot of SaaS companies also, where
Yeah.
it's software as a service, and there are other services like hospitality also as a service. So if you could like in terms of segmentation for SaaS products and then other services, if you could take us through it.
Okay. So, when we talk about SaaS as a product, SaaS as a product has, consumers which are the ones who are actually using the product, they're the ones who are
Hmm.
really consuming the features of the product. And then there is also an audience, which is not directly making use of the product. For example, the business owners, they need, let's, for example, take Canva as, as an example. Now, Canva as a product are but like primarily used by graphic designers. These are the people who are really using the features of
Hmm.
the product. But then, the let's say an ad agency also needs to invest into Canva, because they need to make it available to their graphic designers, right? Likewise, there will be other business owners, who need to invest in Canva, or there could be marketers who need to understand how Canva works. So the difference is in the kind of audience which is using the product, SaaS, let's say, and not necessarily that they're the prime users of it, like the prime consumer rather. So when you're creating segmentation, we need to understand first that what is the objective of a particular user, to be referring to this SaaS, to this product. Second, we need to create segmentation depending on why, like, how, for example, like if I'm looking at graphic designer, my reach to them, or like, my segmentation will be will depend on their behavior, or their, their usage pattern of the product. So if I'm looking at graphic designers, I'll see that how much they have been using the product, or whether they are paid subscriptions or non-paid subscriptions. If I'm looking at marketeers or the business owners, maybe, I'll create a different segmentation, because for me, the idea will be to promote the product per se. And for graphic designers, I would want to do something where the usage increases more. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
Um,
Now in terms of service, yeah,
hmm.
sorry, you want to say something?
No, you can continue in the service aspect.
Yeah, so let's say, we're looking at service industry, and I'm just moving from hotels to an aggregator. Let's say Make My
Yes.
Trip. Now, Make My Trip user is mostly like a traveler, right, who wants to make a booking, right? And this booking is not necessarily to a hotel. It's also about flight, and there are now different options. It's one website which offers so much, right? So Make My Trip user is not just one product related. Make My Trip user may have different reasons to visit the website, or may have made different purchases on the website itself. So here the opportunity to create segment is to be able to cross sell, to be able to upsell, or to be able to promote like an offer which is ongoing, depending on, like, what was the last purchase that this user had made on the website, or whether or not this user completed the purchase. We call it as an abandoned cart. So let's say I visited Make My Trip, and I was looking at a hotel, and I wanted to book it, and I went it to, exit cart also, but I didn't make my booking. So I can also create a segment of such users, who've left the
Hmm.
booking right at the last step, and I can then reach out to them through different channels, again depending on what information I hold for them, and retarget the same offer, maybe like give like a better deal, or maybe personalize that deal. If I know that this user doesn't like to spend so much money, but he's still looking at a slightly higher price hotel, maybe I'll give an offer which makes this hotel within, the spending reach of this user. Yeah. Or let's say I know a user who's just made a booking of any travel medium that he selected. Let's say he's booked a flight to Delhi. Then I may want to even push a hotel, depending on the kind of flight that he's booked, or the days that he's looking to travel, that I go and publicize, or send a communication which is that, why don't you also book a hotel with us, why don't you also stay. Yeah. So we can create as many segments depending on what is it that we are trying to push. So it also depends on the need of the business, Nikhil, that what is it that we need to push more and more. Maybe hotels are doing exceptionally well. It's or like a particular type of hotel needs, or a particular category of hotel needs push. So we'll see what is the travel option we should look at to be able to push this category. So let's say I'm looking at a category of hotels where you don't need to spend so much. I'm not putting it in star rating, but just saying that it's a budget hotel. Yeah. So I will probably look at people who are traveling by train, who are not spending so much, so that they will look for budget options. So if I have to push budget hotels, I'm gonna create a segment of people who are traveling and spending so much amount of money, who can afford a budget hotel only. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Um, what do you feel like, since you are working in CRM also and a lot of segmentation be doing, what kind of skills will a marketer really require in terms of this segmentation? Because end of the day, it is about upselling and cross selling only to the particular audience. I'm sorry, the consumers that you have. So, what are the, you think they should skill sets that are required for this?
Um, so skill sets are not only a person oriented. I think an organization must also invest in a great tool, the software that is used to first process the database, to make database usable. So let's say there can be different channels of storing database, or storing user information. I'm just not talking about hotel. We need to ensure that the database is collected and it is merged together, that it is cleaned at a level. So if there are
mm,
any duplicate profiles, they can be removed, because you don't want to send out multiple communication to the same
mm,
user, right, at one time. That's like a very bad to do thing. Then you have to also clean profiles. So let's say there are like 10 profiles you've got in your database, out of which maybe 4 are incorrect or invalid. Your tool must be able to remove those, because otherwise when you send
mm,
out and you send out to wrong email IDs, then your bounces will increase, your
mm,
then your ID will be marked, it will not, the IP will be affected. So you don't want to do that also, right? So that's why a
mm,
good software, a good tool is required to be able to, like, ensure that your database is healthy and it's maintained very well. And once you have such database where you don't have duplicate profiles, and you've cleaned up everything, then you can create segments. Now, in terms of skill sets, you must be able to understand your business very well. You must understand what is the need of the business at what time, because need of the business also keeps changing, right, depending on the season, depending on how the business is performing. So one must be able to grasp the situation immediately and be able to support the segmentation or communication depending on what is really required. So taking hotel example, let's say, as a program manager, or as as a CRM manager, I must know that which hotel needs what kind of push. I must know which category of the room needs what kind of push, and I
mm.
must know who would be the right audience, to showcase, like, to send across communication or to push any deal for this particular category.
That's right.
Yeah.
You will have encountered, since we've seen over the years the algorithms of Google in Gmail and all, they are pushing a lot of things into the promotions. And even there are certain things where you can't directly message now. I mean,
Yeah.
a particular customer that is there. So people, obviously, then there was a WhatsApp business also which was being utilized. So how do you
Yeah.
think you are navigating against all these technological do not disturbs, all these conditions that are there to win? Because obviously it's a part of the consumer also can't be bombarded with these kind of messages. So how do you navigate through all this to reach your consumers with the messaging?
It's a very good point, Nikhil, that you've highlighted.
Hmm.
And I'll first talk about email marketing. So in 2018, there was this regulation which was, agreed upon by European Parliament. And no, sorry, it was agreed upon in 2016, but it was like implemented very strictly in 2018. It's called as the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, under which it was very clearly stated that if a user does not give you consent to reach out to him or her, you
Hmm.
cannot reach out. And it's very strictly implemented in European countries. Fortunately, unfortunately, in India, it's not very strict. And, that's the reason that you will always get spammed in your inbox. But a big, as organizations, it's a responsibility to ensure that we follow something as important as this. So consent is very important when it comes to email marketing. So whenever we are collecting database, we ask our guests on for their consent. And not just like, I'm talking about Leela as a company, but many other companies who take consent for email marketing before reaching out. And this is for promotional emailers. But let's say, category of transactional emailer, a consent is not really required, because we have to reach out to the users. Let's say for a membership program, it's mandatory to give consent, because if you don't reach out to the members, and how will they know of what's really happening in the membership
Hmm.
program? So there are different
Hmm. Hmm.
parameters to see where the
Maybe there
consent
is
is.
a group also you all are keeping for the as per segments so that they can get it, those messaging, and it's not like in the mainstream like you're through the SMS or email, general email. Hmm.
Yeah, so emails we only send to guests who've given their consent to us. We
Hmm.
don't do SMS, and mostly luxury brands don't
Hmm.
get into SMS, but those, there are a lot of brands which make sense to send out SMS. Like, let's look at a delivery home, like food home delivery aggregator. It's I think SMS works as a great channel.
Hmm.
For do not disturb, like, all these numbers are already, like, excluded while the campaign is sent.
Hmm.
So we are not reaching out to people who are already existing in the list of do not, DND, do not disturb. Yeah, so there are such clearance stops where, the tool has to understand who to send to and who not to send to. So
That's
like I
right.
mentioned, database is very important when it comes to such targeted marketing. Yeah, like what level of database you're maintaining eventually will also ensure that, your delivery rates are higher, or there is better
Hmm.
response to your campaigns.
That's right.
Yeah.
Many brands have started apps also where it's like you log in and then you are part of that segment basically, and the messaging is on that app itself. So there are things that on with the technology how we are moving, it's like people are not getting bombarded. There is a kind of a group and organized way of receiving the information. Great. So
Absolutely. Nikhil, since you mentioned about apps, if you notice, even the apps ask you the question that would you be okay, would you allow the app to send you
hmm,
notifications? Or you can even silence the notifications that an app sends you. So you,
hmm,
as a user, you do get a lot of right and choice to decide what kind of information you want to receive,
hmm,
and whether you want, like, loud notification, or you want to go to the app and check the notifications. It's all up to you.
that's right. Yeah,
Hmm.
at the technological level, I would say that you have to have that segmentation even in the notifications, that
Yeah.
options, because if you irritate your consumer, then you will lose out anyway. So you have to be very, you can say, alert in those kind of things. Awesome. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
we'll move to our next topic. So if Isha, you can take us to some interesting campaigns with respect to messaging to specific segments.
Yes, I will. And before I show you some campaigns, or, like, give you examples, when we talked about the different categories of segments that we can create, I also want to add, like, when the campaigns are created, whether it's through an email or it's through a social media channel or anything else, so when we look at creating a customer journey, what are the
Hmm.
different touch points that we want to reach to a user, and then segments are helpful. So for example, when a user first purchases my product, so it's my first time interaction with that user,
Hmm.
right? So I want to probably send a communication to the guest, which is just saying a thank you. You're also creating guest
Hmm.
delight, and that's your first step of building loyalty. Then you'll ensure that, you'll make a note of, when the second time purchase happens, or when the third time purchase happens. Let's say when the user purchases a 10th time, I'm able to recognize that, and then I'm able to again reach out to my guests and again send, extend a thank you note. Or maybe this time send like an exclusive offer, because I recognize that, this guest is coming back to me again and again. It's a part of my RFM, recency frequency monitoring, like, frequency where we are looking at. But these are the life cycle triggers which we create, throughout a consumer journey. Then we also look at, the special days. Let's say I have birthday and anniversary days, stored in the profile information. Then I'll reach out to the user where, I wish happy birthday or I wish happy anniversary. Maybe I'll reach out like 1 week before birthday and give an exclusive deal because it's my guest's
Hmm.
birthday, right? Then another kind of campaign would be like, we were talking about abandoned cart. So a user was about to make a purchase on my website, but decided for some reason to not make that purchase. So how do I convert is again another strategy. And I might want to then look at what is the past behavior of this particular user. Does he usually spend a lot of money? So accordingly I'll give a deal, maybe I'll give a value addition deal. And I know this guest doesn't spend so much, then maybe I'll give like a discount kind of deal, right? So I'm creating segment, but I'm
Hmm.
creating segment depending
Yes,
on the
yes.
customer journey and the kind of marketing message that I have to show. Yeah, then there could be somebody who subscribed with me for the first time, or depending on the behavior on my app or my website, that this guest has spent a lot of time on one particular offer but still hasn't made a transaction. So I have to now go and give a deal on this particular product only. Yeah, or this what was
Hmm.
the information. So we look at what is that I really need to show to a user, what is the message I must put across. So depending on all of this, I'm going to share some screenshots of what brands usually do. So the first one I'm going to share is of a birthday reminder. So because I work in this domain CRM, I also look at what other industries or what other brands are really doing, and I keep a track of how they would reach out at different touch points. So the first one I'm going to show here. I'm going to share my screen. Nikhil, you'll have to help me show it. 1 second. Can you
Yes.
see it? Yeah, I'm going to zoom it a bit. So this is a campaign sent by FNP, and this basically came to me a few days. So it's my sister's birthday. It was there 3 days back. But Ferns and Petal actually reached out to me on 22nd of April, reminding me that it is my sister's birthday, and it recommended me gifts and the other items that I can send to her, and they've also given me a discount here. So if you see, it's very interesting. One, they're helping me remember someone's birthday, and this
Hmm.
information they've got because I've been sending her something or the other on her birthday for the last 2-3 years. So they've made a note that I send this every day, and they ensure that they reach out to me much in advance so that I have time to decide what I want to send, and to
Hmm.
then make it to motivate me further to encourage this purchase. They're also giving me a birthday discount.
Hmm.
Let me also tell you, this was not the only campaign they sent. They sent me
Hmm.
another reminder for this, which is another like a very sweet message saying that this is just another reminder if you want to send something for, they put my sister's name there. So it's a personalized communication, and it's very, very relevant. And they've made note of my past, purchase behavior,
Hmm.
and they've sent it just in time. So
Hmm.
I think it's an
So
example of
this
a
was
great.
in terms of how this was executed. You had purchased in a previous birthday, and that
Yes.
is what, and you had mentioned your sister and this thing, and that's how they've tracked it basically. Okay.
So they wouldn't know it's my sister, but they've tracked is that I made this purchase, for delivery on this day, and
Hmm.
because in the note section I've written happy birthday, so they know it's a birthday,
Hmm.
and I've made this purchase
Hmm.
3 years consecutively, so they've made a note of that also, and how nicely they're reaching out to me much in advance. So it's not
Hmm.
like there's no hassle. Yeah. So this is one
Yes.
example. I'll show another one, just 1 second. So when I was on their website, I was 1 second. So when I was on their website, I decided to leave my cart towards the end. This was another purchase I was making, and they sent me this email. Okay, for some reason I'm not able to zoom out. You're not able to see it, right?
Um. Yeah, little bit might you might have to zoom it in.
Yeah, for some reason it's not showing the zoom option to me,
Hmm.
but I'll
You
still
can
tell
just
you.
control plus maybe that will work.
Yeah, 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 it's working.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So you can see it says that, hi, Isha, your card still has item in it, and we would like to send these reminders just in case you got busy before placing your order. So very
Hmm.
nicely they're putting this, they're not really pushing it, and very subtly they've sent their message across. And
Hmm.
to finish my order, they're again encouraging me by giving me a deal, and they've given me a promo code after this. Yeah, and they've
Hmm.
listed out what was my product which I was purchasing, and they're just asking me to complete my order. At the same time, they are giving me different options, thinking that in case, whatever product I was
Hmm.
looking at, if that really didn't, if that was not so great that I wanted to complete my transaction, they've given me other similar items as well. Yeah, so it's not really
That's
cross
right.
selling, but ensuring that I make my purchase.
The
And
process for this was how much time after you had abandoned the cart did you get this email?
I got this within, I think I got this within 15-20 minutes of abandoning my cart.
Okay,
Yes. So this is
sure.
a part of marketing automation. This is an automated email that I received. So
Hmm.
website is tracking details of people who have not completed their order. And here they've sent me an email because I had logged in as a user. If I had probably not logged in and I mean, if I had logged in using any of my social media, maybe they would have
Hmm.
displayed a social media ad, to any of my social media channels, or otherwise they could have also cookied me by dropping a cookie and tracked me later. But it was more convenient because I was a registered user and I'd already logged in, so they emailed this to me. And this is an example of marketing automation. Yeah, where the
That's
system
right.
is automatically sending, nobody has to like really sit and do it. You create a segment and add an automated campaign to it. Depends. So if the user did not complete this card, you can match certain things, whether this was complete, not complete, do you have this information, not have information, and then accordingly the system sends us email. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, I have couple of more. Do we have time, Nikhil? I can show a few
Sure,
more.
sure. You can
Yeah.
go through it.
Okay. Now, I'll share an example of
So,
cross
like the
sell.
one, first, I think we covered one is with a relation you had sent. So that
Yeah.
angle was there in that, and one was a cart abandonment.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Now, what I'm going to show you is okay. So I'm going to show you an ad of Nika, and this is depending on what I have, what I've looked at on the app in the past. So they reached out to me on my social media, and I've taken a screenshot of that. One second, I'll share it. Yeah, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. So this is not an email campaign, but this is a ad campaign. It's remarketing the an existing user. So Nika has made a note of what are the products I was looking at, and because I've logged in using my social media, it has given me the same ad on my social media channel as well. Yeah, this
That's
is a
right.
very simple one. I mean, we know it happens with
Hmm.
all of us. Like, we look at one product and it seems like if you don't complete that purchase, it's like the product will chase us wherever we go, and it's not really a
That's right.
coincidence. It's remarketing of the product.
That's right. But this,
Yeah.
you saw it in your Instagram feed
No, I saw this on the app that I have.
app. So this was
Yes.
a different app that you were using apart from Nika, or it was within the app only?
No, no. So it was Nika app only where I was looking
Hmm.
at these products, and I put them in my wish list.
Hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There are many cases where now there's a technology where if you are scrolling on other apps or sites, also obviously you that's a kind of a remarketing that you'll
Yes.
see an ad like this also. So it's
Yes,
and also on
absolutely.
social media where I've noticed on Instagram in your feed it's coming or in Facebook or something the same ad is coming as a remarketing. Yes,
Yes. Now I'm going to show you another type of emailer. Just one second. Okay. So this is again from Nika, and this is not about what I was looking on their app, but let me just open it once and I'll share you. Okay, so if you see, it says, "Hey Isha, you deserve." Of course, they're promoting this Super Saver Days. which is their promotion going on, but they have actually looking at what are the kind of products I generally like. They have picked up these categories and they're promoting it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And this is
Okay.
not very extremely personalized, like not for Isha Sharma, but profiles like Isha Sharma who mostly look at these kind of products where they've highlighted it. So it's not a
Hmm.
person personalized, but it's a
Hmm.
like a profile personalized, so like it's a
Hmm.
segment that they've created for similar
So
profiles.
this is maybe as per what you have bought previously. They are suggesting these, and they're putting up these kind of creatives in front of you because they've studied your buying behavior basically.
They study the buying behavior. They also see yeah, like which are the items that you put in your wish list, or which are the items you spend time on viewing. So all this data is then stored, and the tool is able to analyze and then create segments accordingly.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yes. Let me have another one to share with you. um, okay, I am now going to share an emailer example which is not a good email, as in like this is an irrelevant email for me. So while we're looking at all the good examples, I think we should also look at what is not a good example, and hence
That's
I've
right.
taken this. Okay, so this emailer is from Vet Me Good. Now it would have been extremely relevant for me if I was still getting married, but now I'm married. So it's not so relevant. But they're still reaching
Hmm.
out to me to talk about, and this is just one emailer, they've been sending emailer that, if your wedding has been postponed, then this is how you can deal with stress, or, things to do during this time till your next,
Hmm.
till your wedding date is finalized next. It's not relevant for me. And if I'm saying it because when I had registered on Wedding Code and also given my wedding date, because I was looking at certain services. So Wedding Code already has details of my wedding date, and they know that my wedding date is already gone, so they need not send me emailers which talk about things to plan my wedding. If there's something other
Hmm.
than that, I would be happy to hear, but not really a wedding to-do list or a guideline on wedding, or like details of
That's right.
service provider. Yeah. So
But in
it's
this
so
case, it would be something like you have used the services that is up to the whatever lifetime. I mean, you if it's a wedding planner, right? What was the specific?
yeah, so Wedding is basically it's a portal for wedding planning where you get all sorts
Hmm.
of service providers. So if you can see here, they
Vendors
have
also come in.
vendors also
Yeah.
come here, and they share
Yeah.
articles, or like what's really the latest
Hmm.
trend, or
Hmm.
anything and everything to do for wedding, from service
That's right.
provider to trends and everything, you get to see that. So
Yes.
if
Yes.
if you know that the wedding is
Yeah,
already
like
gone.
I feel they should be very conscious in these kind of sites where
Absolutely.
you have completed the thing where you have informed, maybe you've informed on the platform, yeah, that you have got married, because
Yeah.
it's something like you register in a marriage site also, and then
Yes.
it's something like you are still getting it, which is unacceptable. Like when
Yeah.
you have deleted your account or something, so
Yes.
that will create really bad branding for you, like, and that can be put in social
Absolutely.
media, and also, yeah, you have to be very conscious about these kind of
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
So this is another example I wanted to share, Nikhil. There are, of course, many more. Sometimes we get emails from our brands that we've already made a purchase, and it's just about a new promotion that they have launched, or an exclusive offer that they're reaching out. So it's not just necessarily a segment-oriented campaign, but because they want to
Hmm.
promote that offer, that we also get it. And there are a lot of surveys and there's a lot of study on this, that a user is likely to purchase again with the same brand, and it's always a good investment to reach out to your existing customers, rather than reaching out to your new potential. Of course, it has to be a mix of both, but you will always hear communication from brands that you've already made a purchase with, just on like about what's really happening.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we'll move to our next topic,
Yeah.
which is very important because there has to always be a kind of interaction that a brand has with its consumers. And events are generally designed around consumer segments to keep them engaged. They engage with the other consumers. They have a great time, and that creates a great brand experience basically for the
Yeah.
consumers. So you will be the best person to talk about this in the hotel industry. This is must be used quite a lot. So how do you like design events specific as per the
Hmm.
consumer segments?
Okay. So when it comes to events, and first I'm talking about, let's say, an offline event. Um, we talk about segments. Also, first look at whether we're looking at F&B segment, or we are looking at let's say a MICE segment. MICE means like your meetings and conferences kind of segment, or we are looking at our guests who are already staying at the hotel, or maybe guests who've stayed at the hotel and live in the same city, so you want to create something for them. Or I know these are the guests who who probably have a lot of interest in music, or
Hmm.
let's say in art. So when I'm creating an event, it's important for me to know my guest or my audience that I'm wanting to
Hmm.
create the event for. That is the principal rule here. Know your audience before you decide to do anything, because knowing your audience will tell you what you should be doing. So if I'm
Hmm.
doing for my F&B audience, I will see whether they these are the people who visit my Indian restaurant more, or they like
Hmm.
the my cafe more, or they
That's right.
generally come for coffee. So
You'll also reach out to them to fill a form or something so that you get more targeted
yeah.
information that you want basically, so that you can understand them more.
Absolutely. You can always, send out surveys, or you can always send out, campaigns to obtain more knowledge or more
Hmm.
information about them, which will again help you to curate the kind of event you want to do. Yeah. So I like, if I want to do an event like I was talking about, people who like to eat Indian food at my outlets, maybe I'll organize an event like an F&B event for them, where it's like a master class, with a celebrity chef who specializes in Indian cuisine. Or maybe I'll do something, like a special, 5 course menu, which is limited, which is like a limited period promotion. You only get to like, savor this menu in the next 3 days. So whoever gets the first chance can only, because it's you can only have limited seats, right, in your restaurant. So if you
Hmm.
get to experience it first, you're the only one who gets it. So this is just one example. Like now we are in this lockdown, so events are mostly happening online. Yeah.
Hmm.
So what we are having right now is also an event. It's for people who are interested to know, or who want to enhance or update their knowledge about this particular topic. This is also an event, Nikhil, which you have
Hmm.
designed for a particular segment of people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
um like if we can take some example for these kind of app based businesses for an aggregator, like for example I give you an health based app where you have used the pro membership in that, where they are maybe
Mm-hmm.
monitoring your diet or workout and all. So they'll have a like a free, it could be a free or paid, a workout that is done on a Zoom call or something. So you're calling that
Yeah.
segment. So there's
Yeah.
some premium fitness trainer or something, and that person is coming and giving that class. So you're
Yes.
designing that, you're keeping them engaged, and you have monitored that they are your premium users, and you're giving them something free to enjoy. And you can come in a physical event. Obviously you
Absolutely.
can connect with other people also who are
Yeah.
there. That is more interaction. But whatever, in the online event is just okay, the trainer or something in this aspect that was there. So like this, you can maybe talk about something like in terms of where in a more in an app based business where you can have this kind of events.
Yes, so I'll take an example of Healthify, where you can actually put in what you're eating and how many calories you're gaining because of that. And so you're able to monitor your weight and your diet, and if you want to lose weight, then how much you should be eating. Now, let's say, Healthify wants to organize an event, maybe it can organize an event with a diet or like a nutritionist, and keep this for their paid subscribers, and
Hmm.
which is like a, an interactive session where people can ask questions. First the nutritionist can give like details of how they should monitor their diet, or give like a generic overview of the session, and then these paid subscribers really get a chance to put in their questions, or have their queries addressed. And
Hmm.
depending on the subscription levels, there's like a really like a higher premium. I'm just taking it as an assumption. Let's say there is a second level of premium subscription. These
Hmm.
people really get a chance to have one-on-one consultation with the nutritionist. So you
Hmm.
can organize an event like that first there will be a general discussion on
Hmm.
different topics about nutrition and diet, and how can you really keep yourself you're healthy. But then you also get a chance to have 15 minutes of one-on-one session as well, so it can be that level of personalized event as well.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes. So it's just the, I would say, the creativity of the marketing people, how they can design the events to make the consumers feel special.
absolutely.
Awesome. So I'll come to my last topic
Hmm.
about this would be more in the digital space where
Yeah,
we are, because marketers are looking at upselling and cross selling to the consumers, because there's a very high cost in acquiring a new customer. So you have
yeah,
to focus on upselling, cross selling to your current consumers who are already there.
yeah.
So what do you feel are the role ad networks and social media plays in this? We have talked a little bit about it, but then if you could
Yeah,
take it further from there. Yes.
sure. I think one of the examples I already showed, when I showed you the example. One second, I did show an example of Nika where I talked about how they're retargeting me on a social media channel. Basically, I think this is a perfect example that we can look at here, because I went to Nika app. It could have been a website as well. And I
Hmm.
left the app. I didn't make the purchase, but then
Hmm.
Nika tracked me on my social media channel, and it highlighted that promotion to me to bring me back to the app. And the app will keep a note, or this the website will keep a note, Facebook, let's say, um, the response on this particular ad. So if I've not still clicked on it, or I've still not made a purchase on the website or the app in my account, if it's not reflecting, then the ad will keep popping till the time I make that purchase. This is what we were
Hmm.
talking about, retargeting, right? Then how
Hmm.
does one brand tracks you on different channels, different websites, and keeps promoting the same product or the offer that you had
Hmm.
looked at till the time a transaction is not made. Of course, overdoing it can also sometimes be very very annoying, and even we feel it at
Hmm.
times, that I don't want it, that's the reason I left it. Why is
Hmm.
it still chasing me? it
That's
is
right.
it can go in any direction. It can lead to a transaction. It can also lead to having a very bad experience where the user might feel that
That's
this is really harassing me now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why the
um
ad network is very important. Technically, it should be able to track what a particular consumer is viewing,
yeah.
and how many times he viewed that ad or something, and then you stop, displaying the same. So there has to be a mechanism there, because
Hmm.
again, like if the consumer get irritated with this, they will then maybe can unsubscribe from a services, and also it can lead to something extreme also. So they have to be really conscious and have that technology infrastructure in place to not overserve their ads.
Yes, absolutely. I'm also going to touch upon the point of cross selling and upselling that you talked about, Nikhil, in your question. And I want to take a few examples of certain types of brands and the kind of products that they sell and how they can upsell and cross sell. So for upselling, first I'm looking at a brand like Nika, which has which is again like an aggregator website, which has different multiple brands on it on the same channel. Now, let's say as a user, I made a purchase of let's say a shampoo, right? Which is priced somewhere between 300 to 4, let's say 300 for 100 ml bottle. And but I do view different other products which are slightly higher price than this particular shampoo. Now, as an app, I can keep a track like this much amount of shampoo should probably get over by so and so time. So the
Hmm.
right time for me to now reach out to this user would be let's say in the next 20 days, I'm just saying it
Yeah.
hypothetically. So it will reach out to me, let's say 20 days after my purchase, or maybe like 15 days, because I'm now trying to promote a higher category, of the same line of product. So that is upselling, right? You are basically upgrading a person's last purchase. That is upselling, right?
Hmm.
So it will start reaching out to me and start showing the same product that I was viewing earlier. Maybe it will show me some testimonial from the other users, or like the reviews that
Hmm.
this product has got, or it's different kind of ads it will show, and see how I'm responding to that, right? And this is
Hmm.
one way of upselling, the same, depending on the last purchase I had made. Yeah, it could also then, after some time, maybe after 2 days, because I've not made a purchase still, it may even give me an incentive, like a personalized deal to buy that product. Yeah. Now this
That's
is
right.
an example of upselling. There, in terms of cross selling, it could, like you were talking about make my trip, right? I know that the user has bought a flight ticket to Delhi, and this person has also booked the premium economy. So let me now send communication on, why don't you also book a hotel? And here also I could talk about the reviews of that particular hotel,
Hmm.
or what are the features of that hotel, and what is the kind of deal we have on make my trip if you book this
Hmm.
hotel with us. Maybe you will get certain kind of incentive in terms of your bonus points, which you can use later. It could be anything. So how do I then motivate that particular user to cross buy another product? Yeah. So this is how we can reach out to this segment and cross sell as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we've covered all our questions in general. In terms of, and during the questions, obviously, I asked certain things which the audience would like to ask about those aspects that we covered. So
Yeah.
we would be wrapping it up. So in terms of, if you could like your closing statements in this full process, like you are working as a CRM manager and you're doing consumer segmentation, what do you feel uh, in the market? What's happening? What are the trends? What the technology is looking at in terms of being very specific and have personalized messaging as per segments.
So technology has definitely evolved, beyond we can even think. The tools that we have in the industry, they are very, very capable. Like I just talked about, database, how we need to clean it, how we need to maintain it, how we need to integrate different channels of sources of database that we are collecting from, and ensure that it rests at one central level. And then the tool also allow us to create different templates, or it gives us a lot of independence in terms of creative aspect of campaigns. And the ease of creating those design is also there, so it saves a lot of time. We are also able to look at existing templates which are there in the tool, or take inspiration from them. And then segmentation, how it's they've made it very easy. Technology has made it very easy to create these kind of segments, study what are the parameters we have available in the in our database,
Hmm.
and then create segments based on that. And then it is the technology is also helping us to track the performance of these campaigns, and not just in a macro view, but in very, very granular way, like the micro details you will get, that what time, like let's say if I talk about email, we get to know what time a particular guest, a user, receiver opened your campaign, and then the tool is capable of making a note of that time, or the day.
Hmm.
And let's say if I send a campaign today to everybody, like that segment at 11 o'clock, but the tool understand that these three particular users, but still they're
Hmm.
more likely to open a campaign at 6 o'clock, the tool is intelligent enough to send that campaign to those three people around 6 o'clock. So there is a higher
Hmm.
chance of opening that campaign. So technology has definitely evolved, and there are a lot of things that we can achieve with so much of capability that we have with these tools. And there are great brands which are offering such software. Depending on how much one is willing to invest, you can upgrade to different features features. You can have a lot of integration, between your
Hmm.
channels. So your social media can be integrated with email marketing to your digital ads, and then you can have an integrated approach as well. Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, like I said in between as well, it's important to know your guest, before you finalize any kind of marketing message for them.
That's right.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, Isha, for joining us and sharing your views on consumer segmentation. It has been a very educative session for all the audience.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. It was wonderful to be a part of this, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I'll see you then.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. See you.
Yes. Thank you.
To the audience, it was a great session on consumer segmentation and communication design. We covered various aspects of the same. Thank you so much for joining us, and a lot of interesting podcasts like this they are coming up where we'll have discussions on various aspects of marketing. So thanks for joining in. Please subscribe to the Marketing Intelligence YouTube channel, because if you do, you are a part of a community of marketing and media professionals. You can be part of our podcast also. We will be having various events also. So to be part of the same, you have to need to be a subscriber. So thanks for joining in. Until the next time, I'll see you. See you. Bye. Take care.